YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We've got the 90mm Viper here from Horizon Hobby e-flite. We're gonna fly it again. We increased our thrust reverse to 150%, and we're gonna see how that works in the pilot fatigue setting. I think it's gonna work great. So without further ado, we're gonna take off right now. All right, takeoff flaps dialed in, 7006S in the tray right where we made the line in the unboxed build radio setup, and here we go. Look how juicy that is. Gear going up. Oh, nice slow gear, love it. It is calm tonight. Out of the throttle, listening for the screen. Oh, I love it, love it. Oh man, she flies so good, guys. She's on rails. Okay, another high-speed pass. This time we're really getting it set. Man, that looks so good. You guys hear it scream?
Mm-hmm.
You good?
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. Okay, we're gonna try some landings here. Takeoff flaps coming in. I'm way out there. Gear coming down. I am prepared to use the pilot fatigue setting when I touch down. Man, it's so far out there. I might run out of juice. I gotta give it some juice to get it here. It's so easy to fly. I mean, it's just kind of flying itself here. My goodness, I'm gonna get it down on the ground way before us. Okay, so we're gonna flip this thing over. Got caught by the weeds on the edge there. Oh man, I hate tangly weeds. They're so terrible. How'd we do?
So far, so good.
Oh man, she ripped up a bunch of holes.
Oh, shoot.
That is so frustrating. See this? That?
Yeah.
Oh man, that is so frustrating, but it looks like it's just a couple of them. And then, man, it just caught, the wing just got into the grass just a little bit. All right, let's keep going though. So I think we're okay otherwise. Sorry guys, that's pretty terrible. All right, back to your spot over there. So my timer's about to elapse for 3.5 minutes. Half of that flight we were spent flipping it over, and the other half was spent gliding back to the starting point. So gear coming out this time. Landing flaps this time. Get into final. Kind of waiting a little long on the base leg there, but that's okay. A little bit of throttle actually. Pilot fatigue. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That is way better.
That was good.
Okay, out of the pilot fatigue. I was gonna say, you better not get swallowed by the, oh my goodness. So, I think the pilot fatigue setting is better. I'm just still having trouble initiating it in time because I had such a really greasy landing that time. Okay, let's check our voltage before we switch packs because I feel like this thing should be able to do better. Then 3.5 minutes is pretty lame. Look how much it rolls, guys. The bearings on that thing, it rolls forever. Okay, so telemetry tells us we're at 21. Yeah. I think we can do one more. We'll do one more pass and then we should be safe. We're just gonna be real efficient with this. Gear up, making a tight circle, getting just enough altitude out of the throttle. Can you make a step back, please?
Mm-hmm.
Gear coming out. Takeoff flaps deployed now, just watching those lights for the angles. I need to wait on my landing flaps. Okay, landing flaps are coming in now. And flare, no throttle. Nice flare. Pilot fatigue. Pilot fatigue again. Oh man, that slows down so fast now. Oh my goodness. Guys, I don't think you realize how big of a difference that is. I'm not sure if you can tell, but check this out. It's kind of like yanking the plane. Look at this. I gotta be careful not to push it off the runway because it's just so, those bearings are so loose. Okay, so let's check our voltage here. What the heck? We're still at 21 volts? How can that be? All right, we got to do a little more investigation. We're going to go deeper into telemetry after we turn around because I think this 7000, it needs a little bit more run for its money on this plane. So let's talk for just a second about the yanking that's happening is like pretty intense. And what I mean by that is I'm putting on the thrust reverse and it's wanting to veer. And it's kind of scary as a pilot. So the throttle cuts on. Let's just check the wheels by rolling the plane. I don't feel any differential. Like if we got a weed stuck in it or something, I don't feel it at all. It just feels fine. And then it's tracking pretty straight. Let's go ahead and roll it. Yeah, that's actually pretty close. There's a little bit of tendency to the right now, and that's not the way it's yanking. So, all right, so our voltage on this screen is 21 volts. Man, we're still good. 23.2, what was I looking at? So we're at 23.2, we're flying more.
Okay.
This 7000 has more to give. All right, remember guys, we're not trying to misrepresent anything. We had at least 3 minutes down and 3.5 minutes flight timer. Let's say 2.5 minutes of it we were flying. Gear up. Oh, that is so cool. Get a little altitude, trade off some speed, and then come into a glide. Get that nose down so it's flying. Go ahead and throw the gear now, takeoff flaps coming out. I mean, I could do a way steeper approach. I think we're gonna have to try that next. Okay, full landing flaps deployed. Just flying it till I get here. A little bit of flare. Pilot fatigue. Oh my goodness, that is awesome.
Almost
Okay,
before the mailbox.
controllable reverse thrust. You know what it's doing?
What?
It's pulling the nose off the ground. That's what it's doing.
Oh.
That's right, oh my goodness. Pilot Ryan, I saw that happen to you in the grass and I thought, what? How did you get that to happen? So I bet you that's what's happening. It's lifting the nose off. Let's find out by doing it again. All right, we're gonna do a steeper approach this time, see if we can tighten this thing up for better visibility and for awesomeness. Full throttle. Get her off the ground, gear up, flaps out. Okay, we're going up, trading speed, out of the throttle. Takeoff flaps, gear coming down. Man, I love those gear. They are so cool. Guys, I gotta say, I'm a little bummed about that little bump on the top, but it's flying just fine. Man, those lights are good right now. Full landing flaps here. We're not gonna get as much flare this time. Less airspeed for sure. Okay, there we go. And pilot fatigue. Oh, yes. That is so good. Controllable throttle now for thrust reverse. It's totally under the most extreme conditions. Guys, it's so weird. I don't know if you guys can see that. Those weeds in the ditch below, when I do that, it's just crazy amounts of thrust. We actually cleaned our computer out yesterday with this plane and we made a humongous mess of the office, but we actually fixed the computer. Great. It was so dirty that it was actually giving us problems. We opened up the case, we blew dust out. It was disgusting. We were pulling big clumps of crap out of everything. Okay, 22.7, we're doing it again, guys. Takeoff flaps here. You wanna try a landing flaps takeoff? Or let's do a no flap takeoff. I'm gonna go way back here. By the way, turning radius on this plane is, I don't wanna say second to none, it's very good though. Okay, here we go. We're still good. Full throttle. Beautiful rotation, gear up, and turn. We're gonna jank it up in the air, trade off a little bit of speed, and then we're gonna bring it in. We're out of the throttle. Takeoff flaps. Gear coming down. Long landing gear sequence, so don't forget it, guys. Keep that nose down. Full landing flaps coming out. We're ready for the flare. Woo! Not worthy. Gear up, flaps out, going over the trees. Let's see how efficient it is. Watch this. Out of the throttle, no more throttle. We'll pretend it's a dead stick landing. Okay, gear coming out. We're just gonna go way out here, guys. Always good to practice dead stick landings in planes. Takeoff landing or takeoff flaps engaged. Out of the base leg, full landing flaps. Using the rudder correct, getting into ground effect, and then flare. Full. Oh, it's so much faster, guys. Okay, back into the controllable reverse. Oh man, I'm getting the hang of this now. We are at 22.6 volts. So I have a thought too.
What?
You know what my thought is?
What's
My
that?
thought is to avoid that weird scenario where we actually have the nose getting lifted off the wheel, off the nose wheel. I was thinking we could program in a little bit of down elevator, which would force the nose down, because I'm only going to use the pilot fatigue setting when I'm on the ground. I'm not going to deploy that in the air.
Right.
So if I wanted to do that, I would have to set up a mix contingent on that step, and then I would just do like 10% down or something like that. All right, so we're at 22.6. We're gonna go again, guys. This is the touch and go. Gear flaps. Still got tons of power here, guys. I can't resist. We're doing a loop. We're gonna roll out of it and come back down. Here we go. Carry some inertia up over those trees. And flaps. Gear. Landing flaps. Okay, I know you guys can kind of tell what's up here, but you can see how much correction I'm giving. You have to remember that ground effect is relative to where ground is, and this road has a crown on it, so the ground effect is different where I am now compared to where I am here, relative to where my position in the air is. So if I'm 2 feet up and there's 14 inches of crown, then that means that there's a pretty big difference in ground effect from the center of the road to the edge of the road. All right, we're at 22.3 volts, guys. Let's just push it. I don't want to push it past the limit. I want to push it to the limit, okay? Here we go. Let's jank it in the air. Get out of the flaps, get out of the gear. Guys, I'm really impressed with how well this is doing. There's our critically low warning. Probably one cell out of balance, probably something like that. We're into the gear. We have our takeoff flaps deployed. We're saving juice in case we need it. I'm way out there, of course. Full landing flaps here. Letting the nose come down. A little bit of roll. Full up elevator, and then thrust reverse. Pilot fatigue setting, and full down elevator.
That was good.
Full down elevator. I could tell it was lifting on me there. That is so phenomenal, folks. Okay, so we are 22.3 volts into this pack. I'm surprised I got a warning. I don't really understand why I got a warning. I'm sure it was probably one of the cells out of balance. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring it back here and we're gonna see if we can do a little bit of thrust to watch where it's actually screwing us over. So let's get into position here, and then we'll show you on the little screen so you can see what's happening in real time, okay? All right, so use that inertia uphill to slow us down. Those bearings will roll forever otherwise. All right, so let's go to this telemetry screen. You can see we have 696972727170, and we're at 30% power. I'm gonna just very carefully do this, okay? I'm gonna go ahead, take off flaps like we're gonna take off, and we're gonna watch this screen as we fly. Camera crew is gonna do her best to keep on that. I'm gonna do what I did every other time. Full throttle. And we're up, gear. Which one? What's the warning?
20.3 volts.
Listen Look at the plane. You see what it's doing? It's giving me the low voltage warning. Okay, so you good where you are?
Yep.
Back in position, we're gonna land it.
Okay.
Gear coming out, takeoff flaps deployed, keeping the nose in the correct attitude. And we got full landing flaps deployment here. And we're gonna roll at the last second. There we go. Pilot fatigue and nose gear, and forward elevator. Okay, so we're good there, guys. We are so good, that is awesome. And regular forward thrust. Guys, we are ready.
It's at bottom, so.
Is it? Mm-hmm. It's going out of range, isn't it?
Yep.
And that's why we're hitting that low voltage warning, because the overall output from the pack is such that it's going to drop down. Okay, so a couple thoughts. First of all, on 7000 6S, let's talk about this. I want to talk about the damage first, because we're going to run out of light here. We probably get enough in us for one more flight. Also, let's talk about time. Let's talk about time. We had total flight time of 12 minutes and 42 plus 3:30. So let's call that 10:32 worth of walking out, picking up out of the grass. So we're like about 13 minutes of flight time. If you want to consider that flight time, I was pretty much up and then very efficient on landings. So it wasn't really like a full-blown flight, but I would say 8-9 minutes should be a safe bet on this plane. And let's show you how it's configured real quick. And then we're going to go ahead and pop in a 5000 6S 30C here. You can, of course, use the higher C ratings if you like them. I'm just super annoyed with that, but you know what that is? That's a single cell got popped out. I can fill that in no time. I can fill it with cotton. This one here's not too bad. Ooh, that one's kind of nasty. Yeah, that one's not going to be too bad either. I'll fill it up with some foam, and then I'll put a clear piece of tape over it, and you'll never know any better, and it'll have the same aerodynamic characteristics. Very, very happy with the 7000. I had somebody asking me how this plane fares with the 4. We just haven't used the 4 yet. We have it charging right now. In fact, we could technically pause and probably grab the 4000, because that's the only plane we haven't flown it on 4000 yet. So maybe we should do that real quick. Okay, so this pack is warm. I wouldn't describe that pack as hot. I would describe it as typical warmness after a few flights. For instance, when I flew it on the Cirrus, it gets hot, like really hot. But I did some investigation on the Cirrus, and the Cirrus doesn't have any inlets for the battery cooling. There's barely a little bit of hole next to the nose gear. So that could be one flaw in there. I mean, I think the plane is great. It's very solid, it's very well done, but I feel like there needs to be a little more ventilation. So we may actually add that. For now, I was gonna put in the 5, but we're gonna grab the 4. We'll show you how it does. We'll give you a couple of takeoffs and landings so you can see the full picture of how it works. Okay, so this is 6S 4000. Okay, I have my fingers back, probably 5 millimeters from the back hole, and it balances out. I just want to show you where the battery is, okay? I don't want it to be quite that extreme, so I'm going to push this forward a little bit. So it's just barely in that first strap there. Okay. And then we're going to retest. So this is 6S 4000. We're going to see how it does for flight times. My guess is they're going to be pretty short. Okay, so we're back about 3 millimeters. That means it's going to be really potentially pitch sensitive. It should slow down. It should get off the ground really fast. And some of you guys want to know, because maybe you already have a 4000 6S, but you don't have a 7000. So we're going to try this right now. Timer set to 3:30. We're going to respect the timer, but the timer is going to start either way. So I'm going to scroll over to this screen. Okay. Throttle cuts off. Camera crew, you ready?
Yep.
Takeoff flaps, everything's ready to go. Here we go. Oh yeah, it's really light on its feet here. Oh, loving the way it's flying right now. Super light on its feet, folks. All right, we gotta try a slow pass here. But I can't resist a fast pass first. Oh, that's so cool. All right, takeoff flaps deployed. Nice relaxing period for the battery, by the way. Okay, landing flaps coming in. This is just regular AS3X, dialing at about 8–10% of throttle. Look at that thing, how docile it is. Full throttle and into a climb, guys. That's legit. I'd say I'm a 90-degree climb there. That's pretty stinking awesome. Okay, let's slow it down on the way downhill back toward us. That is incredibly good. Okay, so without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and try a couple landings here. Gear coming out. It's so calm here, you can hear the landing gear all the way out there. That is awesome. Okay, takeoff flaps, don't even really need them. Keep that nose down. A little bit of throttle to get it here. You guys see the rudder there? Man, that was a short landing. Oh my goodness.
It was.
Controllable reverse. Guys, I'm loving this reverse thrust. I know some of you guys have been a little bit annoyed with it, thinking it's gimmicky. I'm not gonna lie, I get what you're saying. You're like, just put brakes on already, Horizon. Oh, did you feel the air off of that?
Yeah.
That was so cool. I mean, I get what you guys are saying, but you gotta remember there's gonna be other models that thrust reverse is more of a better analog for the aircraft. I want you guys to be thinking about that. What type of planes have thrust reverse? I can't say anymore, they're gonna get mad at me. Man, it's so light on its feet, I was afraid I was gonna hit the ground. That tree bank is big, and I'm not even pushing it, probably 15% elevator there to make that turn. Okay, here we go. Straight up, she'll move quick. She'll roll relatively quick. It's not the fastest roll rate. You can mix a little rudder in there if you want it faster. Out of throttle. Everybody was doing snap rolls in their videos. I don't really understand what the big deal was. And yes, we watch everybody's videos just like you guys.
8, 7,
There's a snap roll.
5, 4, 3,
No safe.
1.
Okay, we heard a warning, so we're gonna play it safe here. That was our timer running out. Gear coming down. Relaxing, keeping that nose down. Keep the thing flying without any sort of AS3X or safe. Got about 10% throttle dialed in. Full landing flaps. I wanna get it here first. Need a little bit of juice for our reverse thrust if we need it. Look at that ground effect, folks. I hope you guys can see. That is full rudder to get it to calm down. That is so crazy. I hope you guys can see that good as I can see it, because I can definitely see my stick all the way to the side. Oh, okay, so 3.5 minutes compared to 8. You know what? That's about right if you really think about it. 4,000 versus 7,000?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, light on its feet, easy flying plane, dead calm tonight, essentially. I would say we've maybe had like a 2-mile-an-hour gust, if that.
Maybe.
We still show some voltage there, 3.8 volts. I'm not really sure what it was screaming about. I'm kind of curious. Let's try this real quick. I'm gonna stay in forward thrust mode here. I'm gonna get this straddle lid on my legs here, and I'm gonna just watch this here. It's gonna get a little loud, so my apologies. There we go. Look at that. There we go. That's our low voltage warning. Okay, throttle cuts on. 84 degrees for the temperature.
But
It's not bad.
if that's the difference between you getting this plane and not, is I can't afford to get a 7,000 and the Viper.
Oh yeah,
Then get it and
4,000.
fly it on
4,000 is
4,000.
fine.
Yeah.
4,000 is the best flying experience we've had. It's just that it happens to be the shortest. So, without further ado, guys, if you don't already have this Viper jet, this thing is good. There are many Vipers out there, and this one I think is probably one of the better ones done. And I love it on 7006S, I gotta say. I feel like it relaxes on the landings the nicest. It gives it a little bit of weight. I can't believe that the nose is getting lifted with thrust reverse on landing. But let's just say this. How hard would it be to program it in? Let's just show people real quick how easy this would be. Okay, there's so many menus now. Okay, scroll down to mixing. Throttle cuts on, by the way. Okay, so this is the mix that we do for the pilot fatigue setting. That's this setting where it goes full bore. When it's in that setting, you'll see the rates 0 here and minus 125 there, and 100% offset, which gives you 150% throttle, okay? So that means when you go here with throttle cut off, we can show them, but I gotta stop the plane from moving. Show them on the screen. It's gonna be loud, folks, I apologize. It's gonna go full throttle, you ready?
Yep.
See how it goes from minus 100 to plus 150. Regardless of the position of the stick. Okay, now if you're in the middle setting, throttle cuts off, it's just whatever the stick position is. Okay? But note the difference. Okay, throttle cuts on. So what I'm trying to explain to you is that it's very easy to turn that on. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna bounce out of this mix. We're gonna go down to the next mix. We're gonna go normal. We're gonna mix elevator to, well, actually this is gonna be, let's attach it to auxiliary 3 to elevator, and let's turn it on, but only in throttle cuts on this position only. We're gonna turn it off in that position and that position. So we don't even care about those positions. Then the rate is gonna be, okay, what's it auxiliary 3 at? It's at 100 right now. So the rate would be, we want the elevator to come down. So we want the elevator to be like pushing forward. Okay, so you see how that's like 30? Let's see if we can make that say 30. Oop, wrong way. See how it says like 30? That might be much. Let's do like 10. Well, let's show a lot so that people can see it work. Okay, yeah. So now, that mix is gonna do this. See this? When we're in the pilot fatigue setting, it's gonna drop that elevator down. But then the elevator still works, okay? So I think what we need to do is make that less extreme now, because we don't want to actually move it that far. We just want maybe 10%. Okay, here's 10%. Okay, then regardless of what the flap condition is, it's gonna add that little teeny bit of mix down in the full pilot fatigue setting. So let's go test that real quick.
Do you want to put another battery
No,
in?
we can do pilot fatigue on this because it's not like I'm taking off.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna test it on the ground.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so here goes nothing. All right, so I'm gonna get a little bit of speed and then pilot fatigue. I feel like it's hard to simulate without taking off. Pilot fatigue. It is weird driving these things backward. It's not like driving a car because you've got throttle and everything's backward and cattywampus. I almost wonder if it would make sense to actually have a little bit of elevator mix even with controllable reverse. Because if you have controllable reverse, okay, and you don't want that nose to lift where you lose your yaw authority on the ground, it might make sense to actually do a little bit. So watch this. So we're in that same mix. So on this setting, I'm gonna go to minus 20. So it's a little bit more extreme. And then this, I'm gonna turn this one on. So it's minus 10. Okay, because it's controllable, you're gonna be, okay, then it goes, oh, it looks like you can only set, I'd have to set another mix. So that's fine. We'll just do 10 and 10. Okay, so even if I have a controllable mix like this, then it's automatically gonna give me a little bit of forward elevator just as an aid, because that's gonna help keep the nose down on the ground, which sounds kind of weird because like when you're going this way, you would think that it's gonna wanna pull itself down no matter what. But really what's going on is you're traveling forward at a fast rate and you're trying to slow it down. So, well, anyway, guys, that's why we show you this process, is that we want you to see how to do it. If you want to copy along, I'm shutting that middle setting off.
Okay.
Okay, that's as simple as that. Okay, so we've got it all set. You can copy it if you want. If you don't like the way it works, it's fine. You don't have to do it. I think we got enough time for a 5,000. Let's do a 5,000.
Okay.
Okay, so we got the 4,000. That thing was run just a little bit over the 3.5 because of our testing and stuff. And so we're gonna put a 5,000 in here real quick. I've already kind of figured out where I like the 5,000 because I already flew it on 5,000 a couple of times. The 7,000 is probably my favorite just because there's such a huge battery bay. You can get away with it on this plane. But we never really talked about times because at that point we were still kind of just trying to fly the thing to get some decent footage. And here it is now, a couple days in, a couple landings deep, and I just feel so much more confident with this plane. Plus, we don't have that goofy 45-degree crosswind that we had the last time that we filmed, and that just really doesn't instill confidence in a new plane, especially a plane you're really trying to keep in good shape. Like when the weeds suck it into the ditch, that's so annoying. You guys see what I did there? Mm-hmm. All right, so we should be balanced just basically tail heavy on the back holes, or just perfectly balanced on the back holes. And I think what we might do is we're just gonna go ahead and take this one here on the road again, and then we'll give you guys some driveway ops here soon. So we'll get lined up and come right back. All right, throttle cuts off, takeoff flaps dialed in. Here we go. Gear, straight up, 5,000, 6S. This one's a 30C that. 4,000, just full disclosure, it's a 50C. I didn't mention that, I'm sorry. Okay, full throttle. We're gonna try to carry some crazy speed on this pass, you good camera crew?
Okay. Yep.
Jeez, that is incredible, guys. Near unlimited vertical here. She recovers so fast. Like I said, I'm not sure why everybody was so into the snap rolls, but it's fun to do in this plane, I guess. Takeoff flaps, landing flaps. Let's show you how it slows down. Do you see the balloon there? You only notice it when you're not actually landing. Oh my goodness, that is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. If you get into the alpha configuration, she won't bite you unless you disrespect her. I can tell you that. Out of the throttle, dead stick. So this weekend was crazy. We saw the most traffic we've ever seen on this road in our entire time here, and it was about 100 tractors. Nobody even had to die for it. If you guys don't get that joke, it's because there's a cemetery at the end of this road. It's the only reason it's paved. It was literally a gravel road when we bought the property. About a week before they built our house, it got paved. Anybody who has ever paved a road knows how huge that is.
We are not sad about it.
We are not either, at all sad. And we didn't even have to pay the assessment because it was already done. It was already in the works. We lucked out big time. All right, guys, here we go. Take off, flaps, gear. Call it if you hear traffic.
Clear.
Guys, I can hear the landing gear. For those of you cringing at home, like, oh, what if a car comes? We can hear when they come because they come about 100. 10%, 15% throttle, a little bit of roll. Pilot fatigue. That's one way to do it, guys. So that's why we use the pilot fatigue setting, so we don't get fatigued to make stupid decisions like I did there. We'll check it out real quick. Might as well do it live right here. I doubt there's any damage. That was a lot slower, plus nose in's usually better. Yeah, this grass is softer here. This is alfalfa, or wait, that's red clover.
That's red clover.
That's red clover, guys. So this is what red clover looks like.
This is alfalfa right here.
Yeah, that's alfalfa. So that's why we don't grow red clove or alfalfa in our back.
Yep.
We grow regular grass, and we do grass hay. Oh, that would have been so cool to take that guy for a ride. He would have never jumped on my plane again. Okay, so that one didn't do any damage at all. So we're gonna keep flying like it never happened. And what I can tell you is the pilot fatigue setting is very helpful, but it is not the end all cure all. You still gotta fly the plane. And sometimes you get a little overloaded. All right, so here we go, guys. We had about a 1 minute wait. We had a guy that was coming down the road, not going 100 miles an hour for once. And see, that's the other thing too. We got something on some of you other guys. The people wave and they're nice and they're happy to see us. They're never mad. Oh, that is so cool. Man, it is so beautiful tonight. Gear coming down. Takeoff flaps deployed. A little bit of throttle just to get us here. Watching those lights for the rate of descent. Full landing flaps. Watching those lights for the rate of descent, especially when it drops over the tree line. A little bit of flare dialed in. Full landing. Woo! Woo! Almost didn't have enough. But guys, we're getting there. We're getting there. I feel like I'm just demonstrating the same thing over and over again, just to let you guys know that it can be done. Let's do a takeoff this direction this time. Are you good? Okay, I'm in forward thrust. Takeoff flaps deployed. Got to get up to the crown of the road, and then we'll roll right in front of us. You good? Yep. Gears already up. There's something about landing the same direction. If you can control, listen. If you can control as many of the variables, make this plane yours. Do it the way you want to. If you want to land a certain direction, folks. This plane does it all. There's our critically low alarm. Not sure what it was. It went off as soon as I got out of the throttle, but we're going to go ahead and respect it because it's getting dark. Gear coming down. Takeoff flaps deployed. Watching those 3 lights for the rate of descent. Getting lined up on final. I'm way out there right now still, so I'm just going to kind of get the landing flaps to come out here. Watching the rate of descent. That one tree helps a lot with visibility. Getting into the flare just a little bit early. Oh my goodness. Controllable reverse thrust. Anybody who has not done reverse thrust yet, please try it. It's super fun, and it's also, it shouldn't be, but it is harder than it looks. I don't know why. It's so much fun too. Okay, throttle cuts on. Oh, well, what are you doing? Get back here. This thing rolls like crazy. So let's talk about our final thoughts on this plane. And when we say final thoughts, I act like, you know, it's dying or something. It's not dying. We love this plane. It's gonna be around for a while. I have been extremely over the top happy with this plane. The only plane that gets me as excited as this plane right now is still my favorite jet, which is the 80mm F-16. And I know you guys are sick of hearing about it, but man, that plane is freaking gorgeous. It is so good. It is so good in so many ways. And yet, get this, this thing beats it in most of those ways. Here's the difference. I like the looks of that better than I like the looks of this. And get what? Get this. I like the looks of this a lot. It's one of my favorite looking planes. I wouldn't, and this is something that's weird when you get into the RC hobby. You start to develop a larger appreciation for more planes than you realized you had. If you're like me, you've always been an aviation fanatic to one degree or another. Case in point, Mini Moa. Thought it was the most butt ugly plane I've ever seen in my life, and now I love them. I would build a 10-meter version. and slope soar that thing all day and I would love it. But the thing is, it's so weird because your tastes change over time. Now that's not just true with airplanes, but generally speaking, we're talking about airplanes here. We're talking about electronics and aviation stuff here. So I love the Viper. The Viper would have been one of those planes where I wouldn't have said, oh, that's not an F-16, F-18, F-14, F-15, F-22, F-35, you know, the regular rigmarole of warbirds. It's not one of those, so I'm not crazy about it. Well, now that I'm into the hobby, I am realizing that I love a lot of these planes that I didn't even know I loved. It is so weird, and it is so real. Not just because the fact that we're working with these different companies and we have hundreds of planes, because we do, and that is probably a factor. But the thing is, I'm talking this happened before I was working with them.
But like the air tractor.
The air tractor, I would have said the same thing. And yesterday, we were out here filming for 10 minutes, watching the guy probably 15 feet above these power lines, doing that field right there and tucking in tight to those trees, like 10 feet away from the trees. It's crazy to watch those guys do that. And I think per capita, I think more of those pilots die than like any other type of pilot. I don't even know. You might even be able to put them up against people that go to war. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
A lot of them get killed doing it. So it's insane. But anyway, it's very cool to watch. And yes, we did taste it. And if you're thinking we're weird, well,
now you know why.
Now you know why. But anyway, we've got that video coming. I'm not sure if it's going to be related to this at all. It probably won't be. Has to do with the helicopter, if you've already seen it. So anyway, guys, this plane is awesome. This environment is perfect for flying these things. We love showing these things to you. We are so glad that you're here with us. We're glad that you're coming back. Obviously, if you want to help support us, the easiest way you can do that is buy that plane when you make the decision to buy. We're not even trying to convince you to buy that plane. We're just saying, if you like it, if you're going to buy it, just buy it from the link. You'll help support us financially. We'll get a small commission from the companies that we work with. It isn't even just this, not just Horizon. Horizon just happens to be one of the bigger ones. Obviously, because they're like one of the biggest in the world. So why wouldn't they be? So that being said, we also work with a bunch of other companies. The list of companies is right at the top. Those are the people that support us. So obviously we want to back them up. So here's the thing. If anybody else, Ocean RC, or any other companies like that want to reach us on an email, we'll work with you too, okay? We're not closed door to anybody. But if you won't let us be truthful, we are. And that's part of the reason why we love working with Horizon, because they're huge. They're the huge corporate devil in the room that everybody wants to hate, and yet everybody buys their stuff because it's awesome. And here's why. Because it's good. If it wasn't good, they wouldn't be selling it, so they would just discontinue it before you had a chance to buy it. Just saying. Not bitter. So anyway, or you bought the last one and then you crashed it, which has happened to me multiple times. Anyway, so that being said, rehashing childhood trauma.
Okay? Do you need a moment?
I need a minute. I need to go to my safe space. So that being said, guys, if you want to help support us, this is how you do it. You buy stuff from the links, you help support us. That keeps the channel on the air through YouTube. And we will bring you more content. Now, the other way you can support us, we have a Patreon. That's something we did in response to many comments over the years that we were like, whatever, Patreon is just a begging site. And we are humbled that we already have a bunch of people supporting us on Patreon. So that's really cool. It's just people on a different level supporting us. We've already had a lot of support on this channel before that, but it's just super new and exciting to have people actually like open up their wallet and take money and hand it to us. It's very weird because we love doing this. But at the same time, you guys know it and we know it. We're spending a lot of time. And my camera crew, she doesn't love it like I love it. I love it. It's my thing. She tolerates it because she loves me. So, and that's what you do for your significant other, right? Oh.
I don't know if you should say that on camera.
Is that what I'm supposed to do? Anyway, okay, so that being said, at the end of the day, we have 3 or 4 different ways you can support us. The best deal by far is to just buy the planes you're gonna buy anyway. Yep. And if you see something you like and you'd like us to review it, let us know in the comments. People do it all the time, and we actually do go out of our way to try to get those things when people ask. And it's really cool because a lot of times people will send them and we'll go ahead and review them. But just to be clear, if they won't let us be honest, then they usually won't work with us. And that should be a telltale sign. So anyway, in closing, guys, the Viper Jet is awesome. And I keep calling it the Viper Jet. I know it's just the Viper, but either way, it's the Viper Jet, whatever. It's the 90 millimeter. It sounds good. It looks good. It flies good. It'll do grass hops. I keep doing it on here. We could do it in the grass. It'd be fine. You do want to be a little bit careful about super tall grass, as we found over here, to get yanked into. And just so you guys get an idea of this is kind of where we land our grass ops here. We've got this low point here, but then over here is like the moon. This is the moon over here. Then this is like a perfect grass strip.
Field.
Then that's the hay.
Yeah.
Okay, we have hay here, we have hay here, and we have hay in the back. You've seen when we film in the back, it's tall grass hay. So you cut grass hay and you make hay out of it. Or you cut things like alfalfa over here, or that red clover that we showed in the ditch, mixed with the grass, and it's different food for different animals. But in our case, we're just doing grass hay. And the reason we're doing grass hay is so at some point, when we have like bigger wheels that are rolling, they don't get caught up in stuff like that. Kind of like what happened to the Viper today. So if you guys aren't connecting the dots, we've explained it in more detail, and you can ask in the comments below. And by the way, we want to thank you guys. We always have tons of audience interaction and tons of comments. It is very hard to keep up. We've been keeping up the last couple weeks because we had a couple of deliveries that didn't make it in time this week, which is weird. It's uncustomary. Obviously the chip shortage and the coronavirus crap is still, you know, slowing things down logistically. So we're doing our best. But in terms of comments and things like that, we really appreciate you guys being patient with us. For you Patrons, we're communicating with you as well on Patreon. Patreon's a new thing for us, so we're learning the platform. So again, be nice to us. We're trying to figure it out. Is there anything else we need to tell them about other than all those new awesome planes that are sitting inside that we can't share yet?
There are a few and more coming.
There's a few, more than a few coming. And we've got some other cool projects coming that are maybe not airplanes, and we think you'll get a kick out of them, but some of you will hate on us for it, and that's okay too. But we like to bring you guys all the latest and greatest cool stuff. And if it flies even better, come back for more. Sorry for the audio quality. We're not making up for this. If you're really hungry after a long day's flying, no, just kidding. I ran this into the ditch, you saw it. And the first time it got caught by some tall weeds and it just kind of yanked it in. And we got some damage on the wing. And I've had a million different people, maybe not a million, 10,000 people tell me to try using lightweight spackle, and so I'm just gonna try it. I already tried it over there and it worked really nicely. As you can see, we'll give you a close up. Where's the other damage point you said? Right there's one, there's one. Okay, so just so you can see how this works. This is really old crappy stuff. If you get a brand new one, it's full and it's a lot easier to use. But just take it and squish it into the hole, put the rest of the extras in there, and then you can just kind of take your, this is like the world's worst knife. You could probably use a butter knife and have better results. Okay, that was pretty easy.
Works pretty good.
And it looks pretty much perfect. So I had some guy complaining earlier the other day, and you know who you are. You know who you are about the white not being finished with paint and the comparison being made as though that was like a bad thing. This is exactly why that's a good thing. Because when you have, I don't like the fact that this is a white negative space. I don't like that. I wanted it to be more colorful on the wings, or at least have it like white on the bottom, black on the top, vice versa, whatever. So I agree with that guy on that sense, but the thing is, having it white like this makes it so much easier to fix.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see if we can find any other spots. There's one up here already fixed, but it looks like I could get a little bit more thickness in there. So I'm just gonna go over it and then just kind of fill it. And then if you really want it smooth, you can smooth it with your finger even more. But like really, I honestly think it was better before. Like that. And you're done. I mean, it's literally that simple. It takes seconds. Now that stuff will dry. Let's show them over here close-ups. We had the biggest gouge was on the leading edge here. And so if you hear me yelling, it's because I'm not mic'd. See that? Give me like a really good close-up. We showed you guys in the video. That thing was really gouged.
Yeah, that was pretty bad right there.
So there's two bumps I missed over here. So let's get those. I'm gonna trade you sides if you don't mind. So basically, I just take, and I mean, you don't even have to gouge out a little bit. You can take some of this recycled stuff.
You don't have to use 15-year-old spackle either.
You can use new spackle. It's smooth like butter. And then you just kind of go with the length of the wing. Yes, this is kind of one of those like art forms that you get when you do it a lot, and I don't do it a lot, so I'm not very good at it. And then what you do is if you're careful the way you do it, you can kind of just wipe off the excess, and it'll blend literally right in, and you can't even tell it was done. Now, one point of concern is that if you do this, you may get a little discoloration in those spots, but to be honest with you, that was so stinking easy. It was probably the easiest repair we've done. And it's also lightweight. because like this whole container it feels like foam anyway.
Yeah.
So this is Red Devil one-time lightweight spackle. This is the 14-year-old version. It actually might be older than
It's
that.
probably-
I think it's closer to like 18 years.
Yeah, it's probably
like as old as like our marriage.
Yeah.
Because that would have been from
my
our first house.
dad probably gave it to us then when
Yeah, we
because
probably
we
didn't even
needed
buy
it.
it.
Probably not.
It was probably a gift. So anyway, and then this is like the highest dollar knife you can get. You'll notice it's not quite really sharp. So
Or flat.
If you had a proper, and this is what the best part is, okay, so if you turn the warm water on, it washes off your hands. It's a water-based product. It's super easy. And gosh, I wish these guys were sponsoring this video all of a sudden.
The spackle people or the
Like I'm trying to
crappy
sell this stuff, but
spatula
I'm really
people?
not. It is super easy to clean up. And if you spill it all over your counter, just be careful that your wife doesn't notice that you left lightweight spackle all over the counter.
Like that up there.
Like that chunk. Yeah, because then you'll get in trouble.
Yeah.
But I gotta go fix a hole in the wall now.
Or
That the
make-
cat's made, so I'm gonna go do that right now. This Viper's awesome, guys. You gotta get one. And if you happen to let it go in the ditch like I did, then just get yourself some 14-year-old Red Devil spackle. And the cheapest is probably like a 69-cent. What do we even call this? This would be just like regular, like putty knife, right?
Yeah.
Putty knife, trowel, whatever. And put it in, get your house repair kit and hanger kit out of the closet, and you can fix that thing in no time. All right, guys, more coming. Stay tuned.